Any self-respecting middle school kid wants to know why the Missouri Compromise helped contribute to the American Civil War. That's why we're here. Find out what was such a big deal with this compromise back in 1820. Ah, there it is. I already gave away the first of the 5 W's. We've got who, what, where, when, and really, the why, that's the most important thing. Why was there a Missouri Compromise? Well, it was to keep the balance between the slave and the free states. So I'm leaving just a little bit of room here because there's really 2 big whys that you got to know. This one's the first one. The second one's going to go right here. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But let's talk about this first one. In 1820, half the country is free. They have outlawed slavery. That half tends to be up here in the north, while down here in the south, the other half of the country, you've got an equal number of states that still allow slavery. So the problem begins when you've got a new territory called Missouri that wants to come in as the next state in the United States. Missouri's causing all kinds of trouble back in 1820. So to solve the problem, you got a Kentucky senator named Henry Clay who says, I got an idea. Now, Henry Clay, he'd been around for a while. He's going to end up with a nickname, the Great Compromiser. So we're going to go ahead and put Henry Clay over here in this distinguished part of the notes where we put accurate portrayals of what these people may have looked like back in the 19th century. So this is a pretty historical representation of Henry Clay. You can draw that in yourself. Now here's why Henry was so smart. He said, listen, there's all these other territories, like this one up here. They want to come in and be states too. This one's way up in the north. This one's called Maine. How about we bring Maine in at the same time that we bring Missouri in? That's going to solve all the problems. Everyone's like, oh, Henry, you're so smart. And so we've got Missouri, and we're going to bring in Maine. Everybody's going to be happy. I'm just putting in the postal abbreviation codes. This is important. I'm going to tell you why this is so important for you to learn the mo and the me here. See, I always teach my kids this little phrase. Mo is slave, but me is free. It kind of helps sum up what the Missouri Compromise is all about. And Henry Clay didn't actually say that, but we're going to make him say it because we have powers. So Henry Clay is going to get a nickname out of all this. He's going to become known as the Great Compromiser. I always like to color my Henry Clays when I'm doing my Missouri Compromise. We'll make him a little bit bashful because he's so happy that he gets a nickname. You know, it's always fun when people give you a good nickname. Bad nicknames, maybe not so much, but good ones. That can put a little red in your cheeks. So if you didn't catch it already, the what on this whole thing is the Missouri Compromise. That's what we're talking about. So I'm just writing that in the what box. So we got our who, what, where, when, but we don't quite have the why yet. Remember this little space, right? So the second big thing, and you can switch colors and get rid of that blue and go with like a red. If I had a good red, I'd use it. I don't really have a good red. I have maroon. So I'm going with maroon today, and I'm putting the maroon right there, that line right underneath where Missouri is there, right on the southern border, all the way across the top of what's going to become Oklahoma. That line is important. This is the second big thing of the Missouri Compromise and why it's so important. What happens in the future when we got more territory wanting to become states? We're going to have the same problem all over again. And Henry said, I got you. Look, we'll draw a line. We'll draw a line right here. We'll call it the Missouri Compromise line. And Henry be like, anything above the line's going to be free. And anything below that line, any territory below that compromise line in the future when they want to become states, well, they're going to automatically be slave states. And that'll keep us from having this whole dilemma again in the future. So hopefully you recognize the shape of that little green outline down here. That's the Louisiana Territory. We buy it way back in 1803. Here it is, 1820, and a few of the pieces of that territory, like Missouri, well, they're ready to start applying for statehood. So you still got all this other territory. They're eventually one day going to want to become states too. Well, Henry's taking care of it. He's got the line. So the second big piece of the Missouri Compromise is this line. And some of you may have noticed that the line, it's not terribly straight. This parallel line is at the 36th line of latitude going across the globe. And so you may on a test not see the words Missouri Compromise line. Instead, you might see the word 36 parallel line or 3630, which is the actual designation. I'm just going to write that in right here, 36 degrees. And I think it's 30 minutes, but we'll just write 3630. So down here in this little book, I always tell my kids this is really the first great cause that's going to lead up to the Civil War. Now, people can argue with that. Of course, slavery had been around long before 1820 in America. But nonetheless, when we're talking about the events that lead up to the actual American Civil War, you really start here in 1820 with the Missouri Compromise. That's why it's such a big deal. So, Missouri Compromise, the big deal is, first of all, it's a great cause, arguably the first great cause of the American Civil War.